When people talk about Travis Scott's career, they usually bring up Rodeo or Astroworld. But in 2016, Birds and the Trap Sing McKnight became one of the most important turning points in his career, and it doesn't always get talked about that way. The album was released on September 2nd, 2016, and most importantly, it debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. It sold roughly 88,000 album equivalent units in its first week, making it Travis Scott's first #1 album. Before this, Rodeo, which many fans consider as classic, only peaked at #3. So commercially, Birds and the Trap marked a clear step forward. It proved he wasn't just building hype, he could actually dominate the charts. One of the biggest reasons for that was the song Goosebumps, featuring Kendrick Lamar. Goosebumps became one of the most successful tracks of his career. It peaked in the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100 and went multi-platinum in the United States. Over time, it became one of his most streamed songs ever. And it wasn't just a hit on release, it had long-term staying power. The track remained popular for years, especially through live performances and viral moments. Even today, it's one of the songs most associated with his catalog. Another important factor was the level of collaboration on this album. Birds and the Trap featured major artists like Kendrick Lamar, Andre 3000, The Weeknd, Kid Cudi, and 21 Savage. Compared to Rodeo, this project leaned more into polished production and mainstream accessibility. That doesn't mean it was a pop album, but the structure was tighter, the hooks were stronger, and the sound felt more refined. It showed growth in his ability to balance atmosphere with commercial appeal. Production-wise, the album included work from frequent collaborator Mike Dean, along with other established producers. The overall sound was cohesive, darker tones, heavy bass, layered synths, but more controlled than the chaos of Rodeo. Critically, the album received generally positive reviews. Some critics felt it wasn't as groundbreaking as Rodeo, but commercially, it performed better. That contrast is important. Birds and the Trap might not have been viewed as his most experimental project, but it was the album that proved he could be consistent and commercially dominant. And that momentum directly set up what came next. Astroworld in 2018, which became his biggest and most culturally impactful release. Without Birds establishing him as a #1 artist, the scale of Astroworld might not have been possible. So while it may not always be called his best album, Birds and the Trap Sing McKnight was a defining moment. It was the project that transitioned Travis Scott from a rising experimental artist into a certified mainstream star. And sometimes, that kind of shift is more important than being the most creative. It's about proving you can win at the highest level.